how would you evaluate your season?
I think we ain't done yet.
You personally?
I think we ain't done yet.
Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. The Rams are division champs. Plus, with starters slated to rest, we pass out some awards. And later, one final regular season game before it gets crazy. We preview Seahawks at Rams. Let's rock.
This is Rams Showcase with your host, Sheriff Joe Bags.
Yes, welcome into it, Rams Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Bags. Got one final regular season game heading our way this coming weekend. There's a big old football game against the Seattle Seahawks. I wish it was a little bit more meaningful, but you know what? I'll take these kinds of meaningless games over other kinds of meaningless games. Meaning we're resting our starters for this one, or at least the bulk of our starters. We don't know exactly who's all not going to play in this one, but that does mean we're just getting ready for the playoffs. You know what I mean? This is a meaningless game for Seattle as well, but on the opposite end because, well, they're not resting for anything unless they're just trying to be all, hyped up for vacation coming up. So, and who knows, maybe the Rams only have one more football game than the Seattle Seahawks and the rest of the NFC West, but hey, we get more than they do, and I'll take that. NFC West champs. Before we start diving into all that, though, just a few quick updates for you as this is being recorded on New Year's Day. So if, well, for those who celebrate, I suppose, which I think is everybody, Happy New Year to you. Just wanted to kind of share a little bit, I guess, about my year, just briefly. And I'm actually I want to prompt you to let me know what your favorite part of the year was in the comment section below. I'm just curious. I want to know, and it could be anything related. It could be Rams related. It could be personal related. I'd like to hear from my listeners, though. Let me know what the highlight of your year was. I will say, I can confirm my personal highlight being at that Buffalo Bills game. Buffalo Bills at Los Angeles Rams, 44-42. To be at that game, to be there in person for that one was just absolutely top-notch and something I'll remember forever. I'm going to take that game with me for the rest of my life. That's always going to be one of those games that it's like, man, I was there for that one, though. That's always going to be in there. So for myself, being out there with my homie Aaron and just being at that game, just losing our minds, man, like, I don't know. That was just great stuff. And then in the more personal world, I would say that's not even a Joe accomplishment, but my buddy Eric, I've known him for, it's coming up on like 15 years or sorry, is it longer than that? No, like 25 years. I forget how old I am sometimes. I forget I'm in my 30s. I met Eric when I was like around 10, 11 though, and he published his first book this year. So from a personal perspective as well, like the amount of pride I have in my homie Eric for doing that. It's top tier. It's so cool, man. Reading that, he's working on number 2 right now. So if you would like to check it out, I'll leave a comment or the link in the comment section below. It's called Monarch. It's like a thriller murder mystery type deal, and it is so cool, man. So definitely check that out. Number 2 on the way, but my buddy Eric, so pumped for that. A couple of other updates for you as far as Ram Showcase goes. Position for help and I've been looking for somebody to help me out here. We are going into the final week of the regular season. That position is now closed. Did not make a selection. Did have a few people reach out, but gonna go ahead and just stick to myself on this one for now. We'll see what happens in the future. We'll kind of reassess come the offseason. Ram Showcase does pull back a lot in the offseason, so we'll kind of see how it all shakes out and kind of where the next step in the next phase of Ram Showcase goes, because I do think it does need to evolve a little bit. And if there's suggestions or recommendations, hey, please let me know, because I want to keep this show growing. I want to keep it exciting. I want to keep it fun and stuff like that. So if there's something you feel like Ram Showcase is missing, let me know. If you think that there's something that Ram Showcase does that you absolutely despise, let me know. Can't guarantee that I'll just take every single suggestion because ultimately this is my show, but do want to hear from you. So let me know what's going on. Also, other small update for you. T-shirts are no longer available. I have pulled those. So, hey, thank you to everybody who purchased those. In the meantime, we are going to pull all merch. For ramshowcase.com and the store, we are going to be posting some other stuff there. I have a collection of cards that I think is actually going to be making its way onto the website. I don't mess with cards, really. I don't have a really purpose for them. I don't really know what to do with them. I always look at them and I'm just like, this is really cool, and then I put it in a drawer or something like that. So I'm going to kind of see what's going on with there. I've also got some duplicates of some of my gear as well that I also am willing to move on from. I've got too many things in boxes and like in my closet and stuff like that, and no more room to put anything anywhere. So I think this is a good time to not cleanse or anything like that, but to kind of just clear up just a little bit. You know what I mean? Just kind of keep everything nice and tidy. All right. So keep your eyes open for that. Also, consignments will be available for that. I have spoken with a few people about that already. So if you have any Rams gear that you are looking to unload, let me know, and we can maybe get something put up on the website to have an actual store spot for it. Again, a consignment deal. Percentages on that will be really low, but if that is something you're interested in, hey, reach out to me. I'll see what I can do to help you out. That's mainly just to help out some Rams fans and stuff like that. And then another quick, just a short update. I'm good. Been going way too long on these updates, but also I do have a new podcast coming out. I don't know how much information I want to reveal about that at this time, simply because it's still, I want to get a few episodes recorded before it releases, but it's all about obsessions, and I'm really excited to start this podcast. It's a little bit of a research project for myself and diving into some stuff. So that'll be some good stuff. New details on that, though, will be available on the Sheriff Joe Bags pages, at Sheriff Joe Bags, at Ram Showcase, and of course, ramshowcase.com. Let's get into it. All right. We've been going for way too long right now. And not only not going into it all, but not talking about the NFC West division champion, Los Angeles Rams. Started 1-4 going into the bye week. I was at this game. I wore this shirt for the purpose, or for the occasion, I suppose. Left this game, Rams-Packers. I was there at SoFi Stadium. Left that stadium 1-4. Now the Los Angeles Rams are NFC West champions. Feels pretty dang good, man. And I wanted to pull some clips, and maybe I still want to do that for whenever the season is officially over. But I kind of kept going into it, even at that time, of just saying, like, I just don't think that we're dead yet. I think that we're still okay. I think that we're still a good team. I think that we just need to get healthy, all that stuff. And I got a lot of pushback on that. And this is not a receipts kind of thing. I'm not screenshotting. I don't even have any screenshots of anybody or anything like that. This is just from my own perspective of just kind of trying to look at the things that I said and then just kind of representing that, seeing like, see, sometimes it's not all doom and gloom. All right. Sometimes it can still turn around. So super pumped about it, man. Obviously we are, because going to the playoffs, being able to host a game for the postseason, absolutely top notch. And I think just goes to show a lot about the leadership of this football team. And it's been quite a ride this season. Absolutely awesome. The 2024 Rams are a very unique team, and I think a team that will kind of point to a lot of like, well, remember the 2024 Rams? Like, I think that's something that I am going to say for many years, and so I'm really excited about it. And also kind of learning some new stuff this week as well. Like, it's a 6 time in 8 seasons that McVay hit double-digit wins. That's absolutely incredible, especially considering where we came before the Sean McVay experience has happened. So very fun there. And then also I learned this one. Should have known this one, I guess, but I thought this was a fun stat, that the Rams have not finished last place in the NFC West since 2014. I don't know if I necessarily even had that in my head, but it's been a good decade since the Rams finished last place, which is rather exciting stuff. Of course, San Fran re-upping their spot in that realm this season, so they're right in there. No transactions to note for this week, but I will guess, based on the Sean McVay comments from the Sean McVay show this week, that we're going to see John Johnson return to the football field, not Troy Reeder. So keep your eyes on that. We'll get some updates, I'm guessing, rather soon. Maybe not this week, but probably going into the final week. And I'm guessing that it's not going to happen this week, because when we do bring John Johnson back, we will have to release somebody. And the Rams already having locked up the division this week will be resting starters. So we want to keep that depth, just for one more week because we're literally playing them all right now. So we don't need to get rid of anybody right now to bring in John Johnson. I'm sure that'll happen after the Week 18 slate goes. We'll get into awards here just a moment, but wanted to touch on this real fast as well. The 2025 opponents. Yes, we are officially in 2025 now as of about 13 hours ago as a time of recording here in Colorado. But we know one future opponent and two more opponents for next year that we are still waiting on some results this weekend. So let's take a look at it for your home slate. Of course, hosting the NFC West, Seattle, Arizona, San Fran. Also, taking on the NFC South and AFC South, those home opponents are going to be the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Also in the AFC side, the Houston Texans and Indianapolis Colts coming to town. Same place finisher will be the winner of Sunday Night Football, Detroit versus Minnesota. So the winner of that game will be making a trip to Los Angeles next season as a same place finisher. Hitting the road, of course, those NFC West teams are repeating: Seattle, Arizona, San Fran. And then, of course, NFC North, AFC South. So we are at the Carolina Panthers and also at the Raheem Morris-led Atlanta Falcons. I don't anticipate that he would be fired. That'd be crazy. So probably still be there. Also hitting the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars as well as the Tennessee Titans. Teams that we don't really see that often, of course. AFC versus NFC. Last time we played the Jags, I got to be at that game. That was rather fun in Los Angeles. So hopefully another one of high-flying action for that. Also, for the same place finisher, NFC East, we will be playing the Philadelphia Eagles, who have, of course, clinched their division. We've clinched ours, so that means Philadelphia Eagles will be hosting the Rams at some point next year. Also, one more game that we are waiting on the results for. It's going to be either at Baltimore or at Pittsburgh next year for the Rams. We will know on Saturday, though, as the entire AFC North does play on Saturday. I don't know why that slate happened. I don't know what they decided to do there, but hey, that's cool, I suppose. AFC North will wrap up Saturday. So we'll know if the Ravens win their game, Rams will be heading out to Baltimore. But if the Ravens lose and the Pittsburgh Steelers win, the Rams will be heading out to Pittsburgh next year. So we'll keep our eyes on that. 2026 opponents as well will peak out that far. AFC East and AFC West for that. So we'll see at home, we'll see, of course, NFC West opponents. We already know those. But we're going to see Dallas, New York Giants, Kansas City, and the Chargers. And then also on the road, we'll be playing Philadelphia, Washington, the Vegas Raiders, and in Denver, one we always go to and go big out here. Of course, being a Colorado native, that's just up the road from me. The interstate's right here, dude. It's like 55 minutes that way, and I can be at the Broncos Stadium. So that's going to be an awesome one. Obviously, everybody welcome to that one, dude. Come on out, man. Denver's got a good spot, man. It's a good time. We'll also be playing same place finisher, AFC East and NFC North. Those will be at home, and then the NFC South be on the road for the same place finisher. We do have a game going on this weekend. We'll dive into the game preview. Seahawks at the Rams. We'll do that here soon. But first, wanted to run over my own awards, all right? Because we know that our starters are going to be sitting for this game, there's no real need to... There's no one that can, I think, do anything that would change my mind on any of these awards, all right? That's what I'll say about it. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Won't take up too much time on this one. Just wanted to share this and then also prompt you to let me know if you would have changed any of your awards in the comment section below. I do feel like there are a few of mine that other people will have different opinions. Let's get started. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I feel like this one here is very easy. And it's not the fact that guys like Blake Corum and Jordan Whittington did a bad job, but the fact that Bo Limmer came in as a 6th round pick, was a backup, was part of the chaos of the Rams just getting beat up early in the year, came in, was a starter, won the job as a starter to be the starting center for the Los Angeles Rams. Not only that, is absolutely killing it. Bo Limmer, Offensive Rookie of the Year for your Los Angeles Rams. Defensive Rookie of the Year. There are so many options to go with here. The Rams defensive rookie class for the 2024 season was absolutely top tier. But what I'm doing here is I'm giving it to Braden Fisk, defensive tackle number 55. And honorable mentions, they're out there for days. We got Kinchins, McCullough, we got Verse, we got a bunch of dudes out here, and Spates even. But I'm giving it to Braden Fisk for the reason that Rams fans and the rest of the NFL thought this was a terrible pick for the Rams, thought that we reached for him, traded up to get Braden Fisk, but didn't put it into their minds that the combination or the idea was not just that Braden Fisk is an incredible player, although he is, but it was also the fact to get him with Verse. That combination has been top tier. Braden Fisk also tied for the lead in the Rams roster for sacks with 8, tied with Kobe Turner. 2 interior defensive linemen are leading the team in sacks. And you got to think that the Aaron Donald footprint is a little bit on that, right? Just a little bit on that, at least for Kobe Turner. I know he didn't play with Braden, but the fact that Braden Fisk kind of came into the year being a little bit rejected by the NFL, and a lot of people saying like, oh no, they reached for him, and now he leads the team in sacks. Absolutely top tier. Jared Verse, though, absolutely killing it, but I'm going to give it to Braden Fisk because we felt like Jared Verse was going to be awesome. We felt like Fisk was going to be really good. He's also awesome. So, heck yes. No Fiskit, no biscuit, man. I'm telling you. Offensive player of the year, we got to go Iron Kyron Williams, man. I took that nickname from, I think it's the Rams Up podcast. There's a bunch of shows out there. There's too many Ram shows out there, in fairness. But love that nickname, man. Iron Kyron, because he is an absolute monster out there, and he pushes that pile for days. Kyron Williams, one of the best offensive players this team has seen. Obviously, we know the firepower that this team has, but Kyron Williams doing it from the running back spot on pace, if he sticks around for long enough, on pace to be one of the best backs this team has ever seen. And if you've been around for a while, you know this team has seen some really sick backs. Defensive player of the year, I'm going back to the defensive line. Give me Kobe Turner. 8 sacks on the year. That does, he's tied for the team lead with Braden Fisk, my defensive rookie of the year. Clear-cut leader of this grouping, though. Second-year player getting the C patch on his jersey. That just shows how much this team respects him. And obviously, we see it come out on the football field as well. Not only is he a top-tier human, he is a top-tier player. He's a top-tier singer. Top-tier everything, man. Kobe Turner for president, man. This is one of my favorite players on this team. Absolutely love Kobe Turner. Hope he sticks around for quite a long time because he is exactly what we want in a football player. Just incredible on the field, incredible off the field, and just an all-around great human being. There's nothing negative to say about Kobe Turner. I have 0 negative things to say about Kobe Turner, and I'll be surprised if I ever do. Moving on, most improved player. I'm agreeing with JB Long here. I'm going Ethan Evans for the most improved player. And again, like JB Long said in this week's Rams Revealed best show that the Rams put out to Ethan Evans, he said he means that as a compliment, not a burn at all. And I agree with him, man. Ethan Evans has had an incredible year. His combination with Alex Ward, the long snapper, is something not to be overlooked at all. And Ethan Evans having just an awesome year, man. He's booting the balls down. He's getting, all these inside the 20s and stuff like that. He has had one here and there that, it doesn't leave the foot exactly how we want it to. But the way that he has been able to get that entire punting unit with the Gunners, with, Xavier Smith and Jordan Whittington out there, those guys are able to get down there. They're stopping balls down, putting them back and pinning those offensive back. Ethan Evans, massive part of that. He's going to hit the ISS out of the sky one day. Bank it. Ethan Evans, absolutely awesome. Best newbie. Give me Cam Curl for this one. Started the season a little bit rough, trying to figure out his way and kind of wiggle into this Rams defensive scheme with a new defensive coordinator and stuff like that. But obviously, you've got guys like Aubrey Pleasant. You've got guys like Chris Beek. Then you've got guys like Chris Shula. In Cam Curl, his skill set and his mentality, man, I think that it's a really nice fit. I was really excited for Cam Curl to come in, and I think that we're seeing the benefits of that a little bit more every single week. So, Cam, you know what I'm saying, Curl. I'm absolutely pumped that he's here, man. Best newbie on the roster for sure. Coach of the year. I feel like a lot of people want to just give this one to Sean McVay, and rightfully so. He absolutely is in that conversation, not just for the Rams' best coach every year, but for the NFL's best coach every year. But what I'm going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to give it to Chris Shula, Rams defensive coordinator. First-year defensive coordinator, taking over for Raheem Morris, has been on this coaching staff for a few years, though. Chris Shula, though, right now we're entering a week where we haven't given up double digits in the last 3 games. So if we could keep that going, that would obviously be awesome. But I think that ultimately I myself and the average Rams fan would say that Chris Shula has exceeded expectations. I think that ultimately when you looked at Chris Shula coming in, it's this new defensive coordinator with an extremely young roster all over the place. I'm not sure what I expected necessarily. I don't know if I really put expectations on anything or anybody, but I will say I definitely didn't see this defense being this good this quick. They've gotten better every single week, and defense wins championships, which, good news, the Rams are only like a good 5 wins away from doing that again, so would be pretty sick stuff, right? Chris Shula, absolutely killing it. Hopefully we can keep him around. I don't think it's impossible that he gets some looks for head coach, considering how he's done this year. And your Los Angeles Rams MVP, I don't care about, get your numbers out of here, dude. Get your statistics, get your all this out of here, all right? It's Matthew Stafford, the team leader, man. This guy is the Los Angeles Ram. You know what I mean? Like, he is the guy. Without Matthew Stafford, this team doesn't go like it does. You get those numbers out of here. I don't care if he hasn't thrown for over 200 in the last 4 games. He is the leader of this team. Is Father Time catching up to him? Maybe, maybe not. It's catching up to me. I'm 33 and I don't play football. I don't get beat up every day, all right? But Matthew Stafford, obviously, I think that just the mentality, the leadership that he brings to the huddle, the locker room, the sideline, I think that that's something you can't replace. So Matthew Stafford is my MVP, and those are my awards. Let me know what you think below. If you've got different awards or any changes that you would make to my list, let me know below. And we've got a big old game preview coming up. Seattle Seahawks at the Los Angeles Rams. We'll dive into that right on the other side of this break. It's Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs, and this is Ram Showcase. The Seattle Seahawks heading down the coast to take on the Los Angeles Rams. Seahawks sitting with a 9-8 record. The Rams 10-6, double-digit wins after starting 1-4. Give it to me, man. Heck yes. SoFi Stadium will be the stage for this matchup. 1:25 p.m. kickoff time on Fox. Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Megan O'Leary will be on the call. The Rams game will be shown in the blue zones on this week, so not a large area, but again, not a game that really impacts a whole lot as far as going to the playoffs or anything like that. There is seeding stuff that is up for grabs, of course, but nothing too nuts here. And then also for your radio listeners, 93.1 Jack FM, JB Long, MJD, and DeMarco Farr will be taking over that way. Radio listeners, we do appreciate you. High of 63 in Inglewood on this day. Should be about there for the entire game, but obviously once the sun goes down, it'll dip down a little bit. So adjust accordingly. I know when I say 63, I'm a Colorado kid, all right? So it's, I think, if I don't have any weather up right now. Today, though, it's been like 25, and this is my winter gear. You know what I mean? Like, so adjust accordingly. For you bettors, Rams plus 5.5. This number, of course, coming from the fact that no starters are really playing. Plus 205 on the money line and 38.5 for your over/under. Rams, like I just mentioned, will be resting starters. That is a big part of that. And I mean, it comes down to that conversation. The legendary conversation, rest versus rust. And where do you stand on it? Do you want to be rested, or do you think that sitting might lead to some rust? I like to think that we're all professionals here, and you can take a week off and still be okay. I know that when I take a week off from work, I go in and I'm okay. In fact, I'm a lot better. So with that mindset going, I think that there's an argument to be made on that side. I am also, though, very much if you're in a good rhythm, keep the rhythm going kind of guy. So ultimately, where do you stand, rest versus rust? Well, it doesn't matter now, does it? So we're getting the rest, and that's the side that we're on. So the Rams will sit many starters as they should. Okay, because I think that ultimately, when it comes down to this, rest versus rust, I'm very much on. I love the play until half kind of mindset. Like, keep everybody going, keep everybody loose, but also, I mean, there's an argument to be made on either side, I guess. But ultimately, let's take a look at best case and worst case scenario of each. If you play your starters, best case scenario, you play well in a game that only really matters for seeding. You maybe keep your streak alive against the Seattle Seahawks. Everybody kind of stays in rhythm, right? Worst case scenario, you lose a starter right before playoffs, and injuries at this point in the season could leak into next season. What if we had something happen to like a Tyler Higbee injury last year in this game? I mean, that still leaks into next season in quite a bit. It does, So rest starters. Best case scenario for resting starters, you get a little bit healthier, you heal up some bruises, you enter the postseason ready to roll. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, if you rest your starters, you're a little bit rusty. I'll be honest. I think that with the leadership of this team, I think that we're a little bit too good for that. I think that we're a little bit too good to say that we're going to take a week off and then come into the playoffs soft. I just don't think that that's going to happen. So it's also not impossible that we do see some starters. Sounds like it's possible that we see some offensive linemen, considering we got the news that Rob Havenstein won't play, but not just that like everybody's sitting. So that will kind of have to wait and see what the decision is, but it does sound like some starters might play. It even sounds like Stafford might let Puka play. He's 10 yards away from getting 1,000, but I'm going to guess that Puka doesn't play, that Sean kind of, doesn't allow this to happen. But 10 yards away from 1,000 would only be the second player in league history to hit 1K in his first 2 years after being a day 3 draft pick. I know that's a very specific record, but that's kind of where we're at in the world right now. Is that we're getting the extremely specific records. I shouldn't have looked at my phone. I don't know why. I just which does remind me though, because pants picks. That's actually what was coming in. As soon as I started talking, I realized we had not done pants picks. I will put the correct record and picks up on the screen right now for you, but I actually only know Peo's picks because he's saying that we'll go Soul. I'm also going Soul. And then we don't have Rams House quite yet, so we'll wait to see what he says. But I'm just getting these texts, and now I forgot to ask them. Usually I just reach out. So let me know what pants you think we're going to be rocking. We'll be in the Royal jerseys, by the way. Oh, wait, let's see. Nope, didn't say it. All right. So, like I had mentioned, Rob Havenstein will not be playing in this game. He did get hurt in practice last week. I had talked about it on the show. Hey, no injuries. But as I was saying that, I'm pretty sure he got hurt in practice. So, unfortunate, but looks like he is trending to be fine for the playoffs, but not going to be playing this week, which is expected. History of this matchup. This is the 55th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Seahawks. And right now, dead even, 27 apiece for both teams. No ties in this series. The Rams have won 3 of the last 6, which is rather exciting. Have won the last 3 and 6 of the last 8. And so, doing a really good job against the Seahawks overall. But new coaching up there. We'll kind of see how the averages kind of unfold, I guess, over the next few years. But either way, we wanted this game to matter a little bit more. I guess I don't want to say we wanted it to, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, I don't care. I'd like this game to be meaningless. But we've thought, at least, that this game would be really meaningful. First ever between these two. That came on Halloween, 1976. That was when Seattle was an AFC team. And I'm not really sure what to expect from the Seahawks side of this matchup. I haven't really had any conversations with any Seahawks fans or anything, but I'm not really sure how they're going to enter this game. I'm guessing we will see more substitutions than normal, than in a normal game for Seattle, considering they'll be going against backups. I'm sure they want to get a good look at some of their depth as well, but ultimately hard to tell what the mindset's going to be out there for the Seahawks. score in this game really doesn't matter. If the Rams lose this game, I mean, it's fine. There's no real reason to overreact to that. I know we'll see it, but it's going to be fine either way. It'll be good to see the depth on this team, though, really. I think that this should be not necessarily viewed as a preseason game, but as a way to say, like, hey, if something does happen in the playoffs, who are some of these young guys that we think we can count on, you know? So it could be nice and telling there. So see, or maybe even for next year, like some guy does awesome this year and it's like, oh, keep your eye on this guy for next year. I've got like Deshaun Johnson would be a name that I would throw out there or something. Even Jordan Whittington, I would say it's like, hey, this could be, you know, a spot where we see somebody take a good step, or they have taken a step and we just don't see them on the field that much because they only see that in practice, kind of thing. So something to definitely keep our eyes on. Rams, though, by the way, could lose and fall to the 4 seed, which could lead to the Rams hosting the winner of Sunday night, or the loser of Sunday Night Football, excuse me. So if Tampa Bay wins and the Rams lose, the Rams will go to the 4th seed. But if if Atlanta wins or the Rams win, then the Rams just stay at the 3 seed. So something to keep your eyes on there is that the Rams do not have their seeding locked in. We do want to be the 3 seed, at least I do. The higher your seed, the higher chances you get to host another playoff game potentially. So the more seeds below you, the better. You know what I mean? So let's take a look at the matchup in this one. We'll go with the Rams offense going against the Seahawks defense. So Rams offense, about middle of the road right now. The Seahawks defense, 13th in the league total defense. Passing the rock, Rams definitely have dropped in this realm, but are still, you know, sitting pretty decent at 14th in the league and going against the 7th ranked pass defense for the Seahawks. Running the ball a little over 105 for the Rams at the 23rd in the league, and the Seahawks giving up 123. That's 18th. Points being put up about 21.5 for the Rams at the 20th in the league, and 21.5 just about giving up for the Seahawks. That is 10th in the league. And third down conversion rate, Rams putting up almost 37, and Seahawks giving up just over 37. We know too that the averages and all this stuff going into this game, I don't want to say it's meaningless. I feel like those are the words that my brain wants to spill out of my face hole, but that's not necessarily what I believe is happening here. Score-wise and all that stuff, ultimately, it does not mean as much as it maybe could, but I think that we're still in a position to see a lot of things that are very important for this team, such as the fact that we feel like, based on things that Sean McVay has said, that Mike LaFleur may be calling plays for this game. And that's huge. That's huge to see what somebody else does with the offense, with these players. And I know that it's not full-on, full power, Puka, Kupp, Stafford, Kyron, all those guys, but it will still be really interesting to see what Mike LaFleur does in certain situations. Because when Sean McVay allows somebody to call plays, he allows them to call the plays. We've seen that a lot in the preseason and stuff like that. It's your game now. Aubrey Pleasant got a head coaching game in the preseason this year, and it very much was his game. Sean didn't jump in on that, which was really, really cool. Jimmy G will also be starting at quarterback for the Rams, and we are expected not to see any starters, but it also could be helpful to see what Jimmy would look like behind some offensive line starters. Again, we only know that Havenstein is out. We've only confirmed that Havenstein is out. I would be surprised if we see any. That's just my own opinion here. And Rams are also in this same situation last year, getting to a spot where they clinched a playoff spot before Week 18, and then were able to rest up some starters in that week against San Fran last year and ended up winning that game, which was really cool stuff. So, best matchup, Rams offense going against the Seattle defense. I'm going to go with the backup offensive line, which I'm expecting to see at least if we see starters, I would anticipate them being pulled at some point. And then against the Seattle pass rush, which does have some good players on it. So, what will this offensive line do to keep Jimmy G standing upright? So, that is, an important piece of it. And again, it's not that important, but it's good to see some depth here and get a good look at these guys. It'll be good to see like Justin Dittich and Jonah Jackson, stuff like that, to get some more reps and just kind of see what they bring to the table, which brings us into our 3 to see, which I'm actually bumping up. We're doing 6 to see, all right? We're looking at backups in this game. So I'm going to give you 6 names to keep your eyeballs all over. First up, number 22, Blake Corum. Shaking Blake, man. So he is expected to get a healthy workload in this game. We kind of got that early from the Sean McVay show that he should get a hefty workload. So really excited to see what Blake does with just more reps and a chance to actually get into rhythm. So that'll be fun stuff. Jordan Whittington hasn't appeared on offense much since Kupp and Nakua returned. So it'll be interesting to see where he's at right now with the way he's running routes, the way he's able to, work his way through a defense. I'm just kind of curious to see just where he's at in his development in this game. Next up, Jonah Jackson entered the season as a starter on the line, lost his job to Bo Limmer. Deservedly so. Bo Limmer was playing absolutely awesome. You got to stick with the hot hand in that world, so absolutely get it. But I am interested to see what Jonah Jackson does. When he returned from injury, he was looking pretty rough. So now that he's been, healthy in practice every week and stuff, I am very curious to see what he looks like. And if it is one of those things where we'll look at him and say, like, okay, yeah, we definitely got to keep this guy around because he's a good depth piece. If that'll change our mind on keeping or letting go of somebody else throughout the team, these kind of things will be interesting to see. But this is now another player that the Rams are investing a lot of money on to sit on the bench, Joe Noteboom being the other one. The Rams have a lot of money on the bench of the offensive line, so that'll be curious to see what the Rams do there. Next up, Tutu Atwell. He didn't do a lot in the Rams rest game last year, but maybe this is our last true look at him before we talk money with Tutu Atwell, as his contract does expire after this season. So for that reason, I do think that this actually might be an important game for Tutu Atwell to see if maybe this is somebody who sticks around next year or not. I'm guessing not. I'll just go ahead and tell you, I'll spoiler alert my own who's staying, who's going segment that we usually do. Already, I think that Tutu leaves, and that's not anything negative to say on Tutu Atwell or anything, but it seems like he's not coming back. That's all. It's just a guess. Next up, I'm going to go with Cody Schrader. It sounds like we could see him pop in here and there. McVay did mention this on the Sean McVay show as well, that he's interested to see what Schrader does. So look for him to suit up and look for him to get some reps this weekend, which will be rather fun. And then last up, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy G. I can't lie, I'm really curious to see what he does here. Curious, I think, is the right word. I'm not necessarily excited to see Jimmy G play for the Rams, but I am very interested to see where he's at with himself and like how he looks in the Rams offense and stuff. So, I mean, watch him go off, and then just Rams fans are going to ask for him to start over Stafford in the playoffs because Stafford hasn't hit 200 in a few. Like, in my brain, like, Jimmy's going to go for like 313, 3 touchdowns and no picks, and everybody's going to be like, we can't go back to Stafford. And it's going to be like, yeah, we can, and we probably should. But that's going to be a fun watch for sure, just to see where Jimmy G is at. And really, I mean, I think it's ultimately for him. It's more so for him, I think, to have a situation where he can kind of put out some tape and show the rest of the league where he's at as well. Let's flip over to the other side of the football here. We're going to go with the Seahawks offense going against the Rams defense. A little over half over the midway mark for the Seahawks offense. They are 14th in the league. Rams defense 26th. Passing the football, Geno in the gang, 7th in the league. Going against the 21st ranked pass defense. And I actually just realized I wrote down one of these numbers wrong. So let me get over to another page here so I know I can get the accurate numbers for you. As 30th in the run attack for the Seattle Seahawks, and the Rams are 24th against the run. Points being put up, 19th in the league for the Seahawks offense, 21.6. Rams giving up over 22. That's 15th. Third down conversion rate, 24th in the league for the Seahawks and 19th for the Rams defense. I'm really excited to see how some of the depth does here on the defensive side of the football because the Rams defense has such a young squad and so many young guys starting for the Rams. Like, we typically under Sean McVay have not seen rookies do a lot of damage. They just don't really get a lot of reps. But Jalen McCullough and Cam Kinchins, 4 picks apiece. That's absolutely incredible. We know Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, Omar Spates. Like, we're seeing some rookies out here, and I'm absolutely for it, man. I think it's absolutely exciting to see, but we also do have some depth in here that is also going to be kind of curious to see. I'm really curious to see a Jake Hummel and a Brennan Jackson and a Tyler Davis get a good amount of reps. Like, I think that this is going to be fun. So as much as I love to see starters out there, and I love when games matter a whole lot, it's going to be really cool to see where some of these younger guys are at. So I'm excited for it. Best matchup here, I'm going to go with the Rams' young corners against the Seattle wide receivers. We don't think that Seattle's really sitting anybody. They don't really have a reason to sit anybody. They're not resting for anything except for vacation. So, it's a tough task, obviously. Josh Wallace and Emmanuel Forbes Jr., that'll be an interesting one. But we're going against some solid receivers out there. Lockett, Smith and Jigba, and Metcalf. So I'm curious to see how these guys do against those. So that is going to be my best matchup in this one. That brings us to our 6 to see on the defensive side here. I'm going to start with Deshaun Johnson. This is one of my picks of watch this guy going into 2025. He's done some stuff in his limited playtime this year where it's okay, keep your eyes on this guy. He's at least going to stick around as a depth piece because he does bring a lot to the table, I think, and especially in a rotational role, he's going to be, I think he's a good player. So somebody this weekend to keep your eyes on for sure. Next up, Neville Gallimore. I've been a big Neville guy this year because for a depth piece, he's playing really, really well. He does not get a lot of love, but again, he's just playing solid football. And he might be playing for tape for the rest of the league, but I've liked this guy all year. I wouldn't be mad at all to see him stick around. Next up, Jalen McCullough, the best safety in the NFL, has a chance to pad those pick numbers this weekend. And again, just kind of curious to see where he's at with his development. Every time he's gotten onto the field, it's been pretty limited. So to see him out there for a full game, I'm really curious to see what he does. Next up, Emmanuel Forbes Jr. We have not seen Forbes yet. But this will be a nice chance to see what he brings to the table. If this is going to be a solid depth piece for us going into the offseason, someone we need to bring back around, or if maybe the experiment here is not going to work out, and maybe we'll see if he moves on. So either way, though, we'll kind of see where he's at, and that'll be nice. And next up, we'll go Tyler Davis. I don't love the term underrated. Payo had a really funny video about that, everybody be like, this guy's underrated, this guy's underrated, this guy's underrated. I don't really love that term. They're all in the NFL. They're all very good athletes, right? The difference in the NFL from being a bad player to a great player is fairly minimal, actually. Skill set wise, they're in there, but mentally and all that stuff, that's where it starts separating. But Tyler Davis, I would say, is underrated from the Rams fan perspective, especially. And if I had to give one player that underrated tag on the team, that's it. I just give it to Tyler Davis. This kid doesn't really get nearly enough love for the skill set that he presents, I think, and I think ultimately watch him get off the ball. When you're watching the game this Sunday, watch 90 get off the ball and what he does with his first move. It's rather exciting, and I think that he could wiggle his way into more playing time. And last up here, we're going to go with Brennan Jackson. First real chance to see a hefty workload for Brennan Jackson from a lot of our pass rushers as far as the depth goes as well. So a guy that the coaches really like, and a big performance could lead to him getting some more rotational time as well. So he and Tyler Davis, I think, are kind of playing to get more reps, and it's very possible that they pull that off. Defense wins championships. Let's go. And we'll end here on the connections. We're not going to go into milestones this week. I think I'm going to do that next week, just in case we see some veterans pop in and pad some numbers. So we know Puka Nacua is at 990. So I don't want to say that he's not hitting 1,000 unless we know that for sure. We have not heard, at least I have not heard, that Puka's not playing for sure. So I'm going to kind of operate under the assumption that he might play this weekend until we know otherwise, of course. But connections in this one, former Rams who are now on the Seahawks, offensive pass game coordinator Jake Peetz. So he was around running back coach for the Rams for a bit, and linebacker Ernest Jones playing football for the Seahawks now. Former Seahawks who are on the Rams, Akello Witherspoon is on the good guys' side now, as well as tight end Colby Parkinson. Safeties coach Chris Beek used to be out in Seattle. Senior defensive assistant Sean Desai. And of course, Yarbs back in the 90s spent a short time with the Seahawks as well. And because we're dealing with a lot of backups, my connections here are also backup related, or at least guys that we may see this weekend playing some football. So in the NFL, Akello Witherspoon, Jimmy G, and Mike LaFleur, they were all in San Francisco with guard Laken Tomlinson. Demarcus Robinson and Christian Roseboom, they played in Kansas City with Jaron Reed. I'm not sure we see either of them, but we might. And Tyler Johnson played in Houston with defensive tackle Pharaoh Brown. Some college connections for you. Again, we'll kind of keep it with guys I believe we'll be seeing this weekend. Blake Corum played at Michigan with A.J. Barner, Mike Morris, Oluwatimi, Josh Ross, and Zach Charbonnet. Jordan Whittington played at Texas with Byron Murphy. Justin Dittich played at USC with Brandon Piley? I'm not sure actually how to pronounce that one, and it wasn't popping up on the list yet on pronunciation, so sorry, dude. Tyler Johnson played at Minnesota with linebacker Boye Mafe, and Neville Gallimore played at OU with Trey Brown. That is your game preview. Seattle Seahawks coming to town, take on the Los Angeles Rams this Sunday, 1:25 p.m. kickoff time on Fox. And should be a fun one, but ultimately kind of relax for this one, man. Just it doesn't have to be a stressful game, which is kind of nice. I love the stressful games, don't get me wrong, but it's because it's not, we might as well embrace that, right? So kind of kick back. I'll just be eating and just kind of drinking a few beers and just kind of hanging out, man. Take an easy weekend, man. So this is our last shot to kind of see some depth before we head into the postseason. Get a full game preview for whoever that matchup happens to be, of course, next week right here on Ram Showcase. And we got Fan Quesos. That's on the other side of this. It's next, Ram Showcase. Welcome back in. They call me Sheriff Joe Bags, and this is Rams Showcase. We're getting to our Fan Quesos here. Just got to find out where they're all at first. So I don't think we have that many. I did post this on New Year's Eve, and I'm recording on New Year's Day, so I don't know how many people were participants, but we've got some, and we'll definitely plow through these. All right, so let's go ahead and start on the Facebook page here. These first few are going to come from Nick, and let's go ahead and start it. So start it up, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. Nick says, I feel like because we are winning doesn't mean we are above critique. Fair enough. Totally fair. This defense has been amazing. A championship level defense. What the heck is wrong with the offense? That's a great question, man. It's hard to pin down. I always watch the games twice. I watch them live and then I rewatch them, and it's very difficult to nail down what is going on. But what I will say is the last time that we saw a truly creative offensive game plan was against the Buffalo Bills. And we've also seen it where on like a third down where we just have to have it, we have some kind of play that works out. So what I'm trying to say there is I think, maybe I just hope that the Rams are right now kind of just holding some cards on the offensive side. But let's just not pretend or ignore the fact that this offense with this coaching staff and this roster are absolutely capable of exploding at any time. And I do kind of think that there's a little bit to it that's wait for the playoffs. Wait for the playoffs to really go off. Like, let's just do enough. Let's make sure that we're putting up the points that we need to put up. But ultimately, let's just kind of let our defense is playing great. Let's just not ruin the game kind of thing. But also, teams have done a good job of keeping the ball from us. So I think that's ultimately why we haven't seen a huge explosion, is we're not getting as many drives right now, which is something that will, of course, need to change come playoff time. But again, and I'll say this probably a bunch of times next week, that once that game is over on Sunday, throw out the regular season. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter that Stafford had, 4 straight games of under 200 yards, or that, this player did this, or Kupp hasn't done this much, or whatever. Throw that all out. It's irrelevant now, because each game now is its own identity, its own thing, its own personality entirely, and anything can happen. You throw away the regular season. It now doesn't matter. We're second season. Everybody's 0-0 at that point. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for, man. But to answer your question, I don't know what is wrong with the offense right now. It kind of just seems a little bit out of sync. There's a lot of stuff right now where Stafford's throwing to Kupp and Nakua where they're just not on the same page. And that is something that we haven't seen a lot of and weird that we're seeing it at this time of the year. So I'll give you that for sure. Definitely not above critique. No one's ever above critique. No one's ever perfect. So there's that. Next up, Stafford has averaged like 150 passing yards the last 3 games. Do you think he's hurt or just going through a little slump, or do you think Father Time is here? That's a great question as well, because it really could be any of them. Could always be hurt. We don't really know when Stafford's hurt. He just kind of doesn't say anything and just keeps going. Could it be a slump? That's truly what I think it is. I really do think it's just a little bit of a slump. And having a week off to kind of flush mentally as well as heal up some physical bruises, I think is going to be huge. And Father Time, I just don't think it's that, because we just haven't seen what I would consider evidence of that, which is like underthrown deep balls and just, falling down in the pocket to not get hit and stuff like that. Those are the kind of things that I look for in an aging quarterback that you can see in guys like Rodgers. We saw it a lot with Roethlisberger at the end of his career, stuff like that. Just like not being able to put that same oomph on those deep balls. We also saw just last week too, there was that pass to Nakua where great throw, man. Kaiser White was kind of covering around the middle, and man, Stafford, the way he whipped it past his head, man, right to Puka. That's one of those things where it's like, if Father Time is in here, man, he doesn't hit that throw. Like, he doesn't have that same oomph on that. So that one I don't think, but also it's possible. I mean, he's getting there. He's getting to that point now, and these seasons get long, man. These seasons get real long. As a person who just sits here and talks about the Rams every week, these seasons get long, dude. We're in this, like, going into week 18 right now. I'm a little tired, man. Like, these kind of go, man, and I'm the only one that does Ram Showcase. So, yeah, it's a bit of a grind, man. So, to be getting, also hit by dudes, I can't imagine. So, I'm sure there's a little bit of it, but ultimately, I would say it's probably, I'm thinking just a little bit of a slump, and I don't think it's a Stafford slump. I think it's an offensive slump. Next up from Nick here. On a positive note, this defense is so damn good right now. Do you think it's a possibility Shula gets some head coaching interviews? He has this defense looking like it can carry us all the way. You're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. I do think that it could lead to some interviews. I'm just not sure if he gets hired yet. I'm not sure if 1 year gets him hired off of the Rams team to go be a head coach somewhere, especially when you consider some of the other names that are already being talked about. You got like Ben Johnson, even Ron Rivera is getting interviews and stuff. So I do think that there is a pretty decent market right now for coaches, and I do think that that will lead to Chris Shula staying around. But if he does, give me Aubrey Pleasant, man. I won't be mad about that one bit. And in fact, I want him to continue growing with the Rams because I don't want him going somewhere else to get a head coach job or a DC job, stuff like that. Because Aubrey Pleasant, I think, is one of the best coaches in the NFL, just at a stage of his career where he hasn't been a head coach yet. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm a big Aubrey Pleasant fan. I don't think that's a secret whatsoever. I think that dude is not only an incredible coach, but just the way, the coaching aspect of it, he's a great leader of men, but he also just knows his stuff. He makes players better, and it's very easy to spot that when you're watching the games unfold and the development unfold of a lot of these secondary players. Aubrey Pleasant is awesome. All right, I love Aubrey Pleasant. I want to be his best friend for sure. But then also just his I forgot my other point on that. So either way, yeah, I love Aubrey Pleasant. But I don't want to see him go somewhere else, man. I want to see him kind of rise with us and stick around. I would love to see him eventually be DC and then our next head coach. I think that'd be awesome. But you know what? If he's getting looks somewhere else, I wouldn't want to stop him either. I'd want to let him go and improve his career for sure. So good stuff. Okay, next up here, coming from these next few, coming from Edwin. Emphasis on the win. Happy New Year's, man. Hey, back at you, homie. Says, can't wait to see what Ram Showcase does in 2025. Me either, dude. Me either. I have no idea, by the way. And I'm not trying to like say like this is it kind of thing. I don't know that, and it's definitely not off the table. That this could be this could be the last season or anything. And I'm not saying that to say like that's something that I'm considering. But anything can happen. And especially if I go And if job stuff works out the way I want it to, I don't think I would be legally allowed to do this. So there's also that part. But I have no idea, man. No idea yet. I'm going to take some time once the Rams season is officially over. I'm going to take some time to figure out what I want this to be, what I want it to turn into. So that's sidebar. Says, first question, were you anxious at all during the Washington game? I was, and I was so happy when the Commanders came up with the win. I will say this, man. No, I wasn't. But that was because it just, I don't know. Obviously I wanted to clinch the division because if you don't and things happen and you miss, that sucks. You know what I mean? Les Snead's video, that was the funniest thing to me, where it's like like Washington wins and he's just like, that sucked. Like, and then it was over. That cracked me up. But no, I wasn't, because there was also a big part of me that was like, you know what? If they don't win this game, I'm excited for meaningful football. And again, it's not like this game is meaningless. It's meaningless in the best way possible, which is that we just don't want anybody to get hurt because we have more football to come. So I would say no, I wasn't really nervous, but I was stoked that we could say the Rams won the division. That's it. So yeah, but no nerves. Next up, I keep hearing some Rams fans saying we should play our starters to keep the 3rd seed. I don't want that. I don't want that. We have the chance to rest our starters, and if we are really a Super Bowl contender, we will eventually face another Super Bowl contender. So let's rest up and face whoever we may have to face to bring them all on. Yeah. Are you in the same mindset, or would you rather play our starters? It's such a hard question to answer, because I like playing our starters. But again, I understand that, like, if we play our starters in a game that ultimately doesn't matter for the playoffs, except for seeding, and then like Stafford gets hurt, Puka gets hurt, or something like that, then like you were wrong. You were wrong in that. So I like games to be intense. I like games to matter. I like going into the weekend being like, oh my gosh, I love that. So for that reason, yeah, I kind of wish that this game was a little bit more meaningful, but it's not. And for that reason, yeah, I agree. Rest your starters. You don't risk that, because you look like the biggest dunce ever if one of your guys gets hurt in a game like this. You absolutely look like an idiot. So you have to rest him, I think. You have to. You get peer pressured into that, because again, if like Puka got hurt, it'd be like dumbest team ever. Why would you play your guys here? You know what I mean? It's a real thing. And last one here from Edwin. Do you believe our offense will show up during the playoffs? I do. Our defense has been holding it down, but I know our offense is due for a big game. That's not the last one, by the way. I see your number 4 here. I do. I agree. I think that the offense is in a weird spot right now where it just hasn't really been in rhythm, in sync, and stuff like that. But I think that it's capable at any moment of just absolutely exploding. Is the playoffs where that happens? Maybe. And maybe this team has been a little bit just like, let's just make sure we get there, and then we'll kill it. All right? Because Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, Rob Havenstein, these guys have been here before for this. They've done this before. They've done a Super Bowl run before. We get it. You know what I mean? Like, our leadership knows what's going on here. Then you also bring in, like, Puka and stuff like that, the Kyron, like, all these guys. It's like, no, we can just go off at any moment. Like, this is a 45-point team at any moment. So, yeah, I absolutely agree. And next up here, in your opinion, what is the Rams' New Year's resolution? Start stronger. Start stronger and stop stressing everybody out, dude. So do we have to always have some kind of crazy comeback season? Do we always have to have a situation where we are fighting for our playoff lives in November? Do we have to keep it this way? Let's just start stronger next year and maybe have a situation where we can rest the last few weeks a little bit, or take it easy the last few weeks a little bit. Maybe that would also be cool. All right, moving on. We're going up to the YouTube channel now. No Rams House and Payo time on here. Oh, I wonder what these guys are up to. And Rams House just switched his pants picks. So we're all on Soul now. Let's see. So we'll start with Yucca Trash. With Jimmy G rumored to be starting this week. Confirmed he is starting this week. Does that mean the Bennett experiment is toast? Horns up, baby. Yeah. No, it has nothing to do with that actually. So, the Jimmy G getting the playing time this week has zero to do with what the team feels about Stetson Bennett. At least I believe that. Because basically what we're looking at now, and it's very simple. We don't need to look too deep into it. This is one of those things where I kind of talk about this a lot. Like, we like to overcomplicate football. We as fans do that. I do it a lot. You guys do it a lot. It's fine. But ultimately, like, it's one of those things where it's like we like to be like, oh, with his 40 was this, and he did this, and when he does this, he does it. And it's like, watch the tape. Is he a good football player or not? Yes or no? Like, I really believe sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes you do need to dive a little bit further in, but give me that, dude. Show me a game. Is he good at football? Yes. Cool. Let's go. You know what I mean? And then you can dive into schematics and all that stuff. But like, that's step one, right? And this is a similar thing in this because, well, I think a lot of people are looking at it of like, well, Matthew Stafford's resting, so we want to take a look at all this stuff. And it's like, ultimately what's happening here is we have a regular season football game and our starting quarterback is not playing in this one, which means the next guy on the list goes. And that next guy on the list is just Jimmy Garoppolo, not Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett's below that, and that's fine. Stetson Bennett's going to dress up this week. He's going to have a jersey on, some pads and stuff like that, but he's probably not going to play. And that has nothing to do with Stetson Bennett's potential future with the Rams or anything. It's simply the fact Jimmy Garoppolo is QB2, QB1's not in. That's it. So no, I don't think it has anything to do with the Stetson Bennett experiment, but I would anticipate that Bennett will be back next year no matter what happens with Jimmy in this game or for the future, even if he returns to the Rams or signs somewhere else. Next up here, MRP 5150. We don't have names. I just have to go off of your whatever selected, username people have. Thoughts on Stafford being injured or something being wrong with him? I know teams technically have to disclose these things, but he just hasn't seemed himself in the past few weeks, despite us winning. You're absolutely right. Something does seem a little bit off. If he was injured, though, we definitely would know about that because this Rams team's also not stupid, and if you don't report injuries, you can get fined for that pretty bad, actually. You can see some pretty rough punishments come down from the NFL if you are withholding injury information. So no, I don't think that he's hurt because I think we would know about that. We did hear about, the ankle situation a couple weeks ago and stuff like that, but then they said he was fine. So I do think that we would know something if he was hurt. But as far as something being wrong with the man, it kind of feels like it, but I'm gonna stick with my original answer to Nick, and I do think it's just a little bit of a slump. But having a week off, heal up some bruises, kind of clear yourself mentally, and not have to, go through knowing that you're preparing for the Seahawks defense and stuff like that, just being able to help out Jimmy and stuff like that, and kind of just take a week to just kind of chill out, man. I think that's going to be really good for Stafford, and I'm fully anticipating that we see a playoff Stafford that we're like, oh man, where's this guy been the last month? I really believe that. So, and then last one up here, we have Paul says, do you think OBJ will be signed for the playoffs? Paul, I love your enthusiasm here, man. I would love the idea, and I would be fired up if OBJ came back. I've always been a big fan of OBJ. Even going back to LSU, man, I've always liked him, but I don't think that we bring him back. I think that our wide receiver room is really, really strong. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Tyler Johnson. I think that we're good there, and I just don't know what he would bring to us that we are missing necessarily. OBJ is a really good player, but I do think his value is very inflated. He's a very exciting player. He makes some really interesting plays, but overall, I mean, let's take into consideration what he's done the last X amount of years or whatever. He's only been okay. Or what I'll say is good. He's been a really good player, but he hasn't been that elite guy like I think a lot of people put him into that pocket of. So if he showed up today, I think that he's like our fourth wide receiver, ahead of Tutu, below DeMarcus. And I'm just not really sure how much value that brings to us. I do think that he signs somewhere, with a playoff team, such as like Green Bay, I think makes a lot of sense. Their wide receivers, I think, are not really as trustworthy. Trying to think who else is in the playoffs here. The Green Bay makes a lot of sense to me, man. I'll see maybe the Chargers. That one makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, I think that he does sign somewhere pretty soon, but I don't think it's with the Rams. I do think that that time has passed. And he also, would he get mad again? Numbers, because Cam Curl's number 3. Would we see another situation? Who knows? Thank you for your questions. We will get into a playoff game preview next week. Fired up about it. We'll also dive into our full milestones and where everybody ended the season with. We'll get into all of that good stuff. And hopefully we get a few more game previews. I don't want to do just one more, right? Give me a few more to do, all right? I know I talk about how like much of a grind this does become, but hey, it will not hurt my feelings one bit if I get to do another Super Bowl preview. Got to do 3 on this show already, and yeah, those are so much fun. Would not hurt my feelings one bit to keep that action going. Make sure you follow on socials at Sheriff Joe Bags, at Rams Showcase. If there's something you want to see pop up store-wise on ramshowcase.com, let me know, because there's also stuff that I can get. Like, I can get more of these guys, but that's something that people are looking for. Or, I mean, I don't want to just, like, get rid of my own stuff, but I do have some doubles, some cards, things like that. I will get some stuff up there and kind of see what happens. And again, the consignments will be available. You got some Rams gear you trying to unload, those percentages will be low. Reach out to me. We'll see what we can figure out. At least give you a little storefront to put that out on. And it wouldn't be something local like your Facebook Marketplace or something like that. You can have it, and then we can just share out some links and stuff. So hit me up if that's something that you are interested in for sure. But keep your eyes also on that shop tab at ramshowcase.com, as some stuff will be popping up on there. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for giving me your fan quesos. Big old football game going on this weekend. Seattle Seahawks coming to town, take on our LA Rams. Jimmy Garoppolo will be rocking it at quarterback. So we'll see what the depth of this squad brings this week, as of course we head into the 2024 postseason. Going to be an awesome one, man. Super Bowl's going down in New Orleans, so hey, maybe we'll get all the way there, huh? But that is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. This has been Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.